times today. Can everybody else see her? Okay. All right. Well, let you get started. So take it away.
So thank you everyone for being here. I believe that to be a kind of summary of what we have heard. I think we are all familiar with this situation. We used to have young learners, teenagers who were okay with reading, well, not extensive reading, but they were pretty much okay with the idea of reading 1 or 2 books or managing to do a reading test. And then on came the digital natives. And now we see that they own their own entertainment, their own world of music. They're used to fast-paced interaction with great graphic design. And the parents of those digital natives, who are digital immigrants, much like their teachers, read on tablets. They don't read on books. Now, in contrast to all that, when we look at a book, it seems two-dimensional, boring, and no matter how much the reader taps on that page, nothing happens. So this poses a couple of questions, and I always like starting with questions because I don't think there are that many answers. Well, first of all, is there any future to teaching reading? Will we still go on reading in a couple of decades? I know that a lot of eyebrows might be raised right now, but the thing is, we used to have instruction booklets with the appliances we bought. Then we used to have the PDF that could be downloaded. And nowadays, our students do not even watch the tutorial. And I believe that blended learning and learning through video presentations will also encourage this. Another set of questions. What about me? What about the teacher? Do I know enough? Has anything equipped me so that I can teach reading? Do I understand the goings-on in the brain of different learners? And how can I help and where I can intervene? Am I enough of a reader to help my students? What about the set taught? Should it be taught in a classroom? And if the teacher's attention is divided between more than 2 students, so amongst 10, whose needs are we catering for? And perhaps should we think of teaching reading during tutorials on a one-to-one basis? These are concerns. But if we go back to whatever we have discussed so far, we talked about notes. We talked about how we use notes, and see that this is a dynamic process. We used to think that texts are there and they are poured into the reader's head. Now we know that, as Hedge calls it, it's a psycholinguistic guessing game. We bring in more than linguistic knowledge when we want to decode a text. And this dynamic process consists of a multitude of hypotheses and predictions that readers make. It's not just linguistic knowledge. It is also our schematic knowledge, our in-text. And this means that what we understand as complexity might be more than just the unknown words. The students will stop at that, and they will also be stopped and discouraged by the structural complexity, as many of the previous speakers have already pointed out. But they will also be demotivated if they do not know anything about the text, or if they do not understand the genre and its conventions. You might wonder why I have put the last picture there. One would think that, okay, it's not the challenge posed by reading, it's the challenge posed by the reader. But if we think about reading, the thing is, we have different brains, we have different ways of reading. These things have to do with the way we were brought up and the teachers we have had, as Corey and Anne-Margaret both pointed out. So these are not easily change attitudes, and also all the sub-skills related with how we process a text are so personal, and any kind of error, any kind of problem, any kind of story occur at any point, and I really don't know where each of my students finds stumbling blocks. Now, add the time pressures on that, and we'll have an issue and a royal problem in our hands. Did I say time issues? Well, the ELT material that we teach the last, 20 years, it seems much better than when it used to be before, and it keeps getting better and better, and thank you, publishers. But this complexity represented by the rubrics of the different exams on the CFR framework is not understood, interpreted, translated, or applied in the same way by all publishers. Therefore, some of them more tone it down, stay closer to what this complexity requires, and delve in much earlier. The thing is, this creates problems with consistency. Another thing is that we have texts working as springboard for teaching grammar, vocabulary. They are also the way through which reading and writing in junior classes, and through that reading aloud. Personally, I feel that we ruin reading comprehension when we co-practice it with reading aloud. The two might have some, if we represented it in a Venn diagram, some joint gray areas where they meet. The thing is, they're not the same. So trying to kill two birds with one stone simply destroys learning comprehension. Students' superficial questions. We create a situation in which the reader, the student, can find the answer by just looking at the picture. And also we have the learners who pose certain differences, certain difficulties. First of all, we see that a lot of our learners understand success in different ways. Personally, I want to get better in my reading when it comes to the languages I am learning. But other people, and especially my students, they see it as getting a certificate. They also have a certain attitude to motivation and to how quickly they give up. Also, some of them are so eager and so used to being in fast-paced artificial environments that they cannot focus, and when they do, they are easily distracted by noises and by the pressure of time. So what can we do? Well, everybody has mentioned that the reason we read because we love it, and because we love it, so we read more, and we love it because it's a pleasant activity. Therefore, we need to get our learners to self-reflect, self-analyze their own attitude, their own problems, their own issues, self-reflect on reading for themselves. Do that. We need to do two things. Look at reading as process, not product, and stop insisting on those on that very limited diet of multiple choice, true or false, open-ended questions, or whatever else we do for the sake of exams. We need to balance the diet of our students. And yes, I did put this picture for Spiridula's sake. We need to balance their reading diet so that they know what reading is really about, teach them different conventions, and help them in which they respond to different texts. So what we need to do, focus on core texts for what they have to do instead of rushing from one text to the other. Work on our leading stage as a way to activate knowledge and help students dig into their brains and learn more. Help the struggling students by pre-teaching. Maria mentioned it already. Focus on paragraph. Give students the chance to work on line reference, on referencing devices in the smaller form. We can also change the reaction totally, get diagrams or create their own in order to represent the main points, capture the essence of the text, and then use those main points to narrate their mental representation. When it comes to reading comprehension, I think what we need is options in extensive reading, exam practice. I feel that our digital natives will not be the type of students who will be happy to set book and force it on them. Also, reading has a lot to gain by being taught in a blended environment, so we need to teach strategies, teach students to become self-reliant in activating those strategies, and get those who have a standard, consistent success rate, explain their strategies, tell their classmates what they do. And once individual learners are left alone at their own pace and they can actually find the reading, they will be much more eager to read. Right now, we feel that a lot of things can be taught lockstep, but reading is the one that defies it. No two people read in the same way. No two people read at the same pace. So the thing is, we need to give our students options, time, and change their reaction to the text. Thank you so much.